Okay, factoring day 2. All right, this is the notes for 5-3. And as you can see, I've attempted to do notes like 3 or 4 times now, and my video keeps messing up. So I'm going to now attempt again, and I'm going to do some different problems because I don't have a pen. I don't have an eraser to erase my work again. So, okay, so we're going to look at number 2 to start off. So we have 2x squared plus 9x minus 18. Okay, so the first step is to look to see if they have a greatest common factor. If they have anything in common that you can take out. So unfortunately, the 2 is only 2 and 1, and the 9 is only 9 and 1. So there's nothing these two have in common. Okay, so there's nothing you can do there. So now, in order to factor from here, since the x squared has a number in front of it, factoring mentally is difficult. Okay, so we're going to go on ahead and take your 2x squared and multiply it by your negative 18. So take your first and your last and multiply them together. You're going to get negative 36x squared. Okay. Now we need to find multiples of 36 that when you add or subtract them, you get 9. Okay. So let's list out our multiples. 36 and 1, right? You're going to get 12 and 3. You're going to get, I'm trying to think of what else we have here. 9 and 4, right? 6 and 6. Okay, so now, if you add or subtract any of these, do you get 9? Yes, if you take 12 minus 3, then you get 9, right? Okay, so that means 12 needs to be positive and 3 needs to be negative, right? To give you negative 36. Positive times a negative is a negative. And then your 9 is positive. So you need your big number, your 12, to be positive, right? Okay, so now we're going to rewrite it. You're going to put you're going to rewrite the 2x squared. It doesn't change. The first number stays the same. Okay? But now we've chose this one as the one we chose to use here. Okay? So you're going to have plus 12x minus 3x minus 18. So where the 9x is, we're substituting in and we're putting 12x and negative 3x. Okay? And then the 18 just comes down. The minus 18 just comes down. So now you're going to take these first two and you're going to take out what they have in common. Okay? So you would take out a 2x. They both have 2x in common. And it leaves you with x plus 6. Okay? Now you're going to do the same thing for the last two. It would be like if they were in parentheses. What do these two have in common that you can take out? A 3, right? Negative 3. So when you take negative 3 out of this one, you're left with x. When you take negative 3 out of negative 18, you're left with positive 6. Okay? So we just factored 3 out of these two. And we factored 2x out of this. Okay? Now you just rewrite it. So 2x minus 3, what's on the outside of the parentheses, goes together now, which is 2x minus 3. And your parentheses are the same. So you just rewrite it one time as x plus 6. So this is your answer. All right, let's look at one. Let's look at another one. All right, let's look at this negative down here. Number 6. Negative 6x squared minus x plus 2. Okay. Is there anything these have in common that you can take out? Nope, just the negative sign. So when you're looking for your greatest common factor in the beginning, you don't want your x squared, your first number, to be negative. So we're going to take a negative 1 out of this. And we're left with 6x squared. Take the negative out, so this becomes positive. And now this becomes negative. So your signs flip. Okay? So now we're trying to find 6x squared times negative 2 gives you negative 12x squared. So we need to find the multiples of negative 12 that when you add or subtract, you get a positive 1. Okay, so let's list them out. We get 12 and 1. We're going to get 6 and 2. We're going to get 3 and 4, right? And then 4 and 3. Okay, so what are we going to have here? Which one? Is there any of these that when you add or subtract the 2 together, so 12 minus 1 is 11, right? 12 plus 1 is 13. We're looking for 1. 6 plus 2 is 8. 6 minus 2 is 4. So that doesn't work. Let's look at this one though. 3 minus 4 gives you negative 1, right? 3 plus 4 gives you 7. But if you take 4 and you subtract 3, you do get a positive 1. Okay, so that means we're going to have, if this needs to be positive 1, that means this has to be a negative 3, right? Because a positive 4 minus 3 gives you positive 1. So this is the one we're going to choose to use. So now we're going to rewrite it. Okay, so you're going to have your negative sign stays here, but you're going to write 6x squared stays the same, plus 4x minus 3x minus 2. Okay, so now what can we factor out of the 6x squared plus the 4x? We can take a 2x out. And you're left with 3x plus 2. And now these two don't have anything in common other than the negative sign. So we're going to take the negative sign out, the negative 1, and you're going to get 3x, right, plus 2. So now your negative sign is still up here in front. Okay, now we're going to rewrite it. You're going to have negative. And you're going to take what's on the outside of the parentheses, which is 2x minus 1. And then you're going to take what's inside the parentheses that matches, and you only write it one time. So you get negative 2x minus 1 times 3x plus 2. All right. Well, let's do one more. Now we're just following the same, we're doing the same thing each time on all of these. Okay. So let's look at the next one. 3x squared plus 5x minus 12. Okay. Do these have anything in common? No, because 5 and 1 is prime and 3 and 1 is prime, so they don't have anything in common. So what you're going to take 3x squared times negative 12, and you're going to get negative 36x squared. Write your factors at 36. 36, let's see, what do we say? 12 and 3, 9 and 4, 6 and 6. So if we subtract though 9 from 5, 9 minus 4, we get 5, right? So that works. So that means our 9 needs to be positive and our 4 needs to be negative. So now we're going to rewrite it. The first stays the same, except now you're going to have plus 9x minus 4x minus 12. Now what do these first two have in common that you can factor out? They both have a 3x, and it leaves you with x plus 3. And now what do these two have in common? A negative 4. So pull the negative 4 out. When you take negative 4 out of this, you're left with x. And when you take negative 4 out of this, you're left with positive 3. Okay, so now you're just going to write your parentheses, 3x minus 4. Everything that's on the outside of the parentheses you combine. And then x plus 3 is in parentheses, so it's x plus 3. So this is your answer right here, the 3x minus 4 times the x plus 3. All right, so there's 3 good examples. Just rewind these notes or watch them again if you get stuck, okay, because you're going to do them all the same way. But I'm going to do a couple on the back because there are, you do need to remember that you don't always have to use this method. If there's an easier way, then you can do it an easier way, okay? So I was going to try to find one that was easier, which I worked them all out in my notes the other day for you. So let's look at this one right here. So 12x squared minus 6x. Okay, your first step is to find out what they have in common. So they have a 6x in common. Okay, so when you take the 6x out, you're left with 2x minus 1. Okay, that's it. There's nothing else to do on this problem because 2x minus 1, there's nothing else you can do with that. That is factored completely from there. Okay, and here was another example I did on the notes that didn't ever post, was 20x squared minus 45. They have 5 in common. So you take the 5 out and you're left with 4x squared minus 9. And then you go back to the notes that we learned on 5.1 and 5.2, and they gave you a formula for when you're factoring with squares. So because 4x squared are both, 4 is a squared number, right? And 9 is a squared number. So since they're both squared numbers, you can use this formula. So basically all you have to do is take the square root of 4x squared, which is 2x, and you write it in both parentheses. That's your a, is 2x. And then you take your square root of your 9, which is 3, right? And then you just put it here, and it's the formula has plus and minus, right? So you just keep your signs the same that your formula has, and then put your 3's. Okay? So a squared minus b squared, which is what we have here. This is our a squared, and this is our b squared. All right. I think that's probably enough examples.